we got beef. There's just no other way to put it. We got beef. Joe Logano, William Byron. I don't know if anybody had this in their bingo cards, but that's what we're working with right now after this throwback weekend is over. So let's just cut right into the chase. What was that incident that triggered, all of this whole discourse, controversy, and stuff like that? With 10 laps to go, William Byron had already built up like a second or so lead over Joe Logano. But as the laps went on, it was pretty clear that Logano was catching up to him as the handling on Byron's car had gone away. Something happened, I don't know. Either Logano's car was faster, Byron's car just got tighter, or I don't know. In my opinion, Byron's handling on the car, the way I saw it, Byron's handling just fell off in the closing laps, and Logano got to him. And with 2 laps to go, in turns 3 and 4, this is before they take the white flag. They were not even on the last lap, but it seemed on the surface like Logano just pulls the old bump and run on Byron, And the main thing that people are saying out of this is that, typical Logano doing moves like that in order to win a race, because he just cannot win a race any other way. Typical Joe Logano haters. Now, as a Joe Logano fan, here's my honest take. I like Joe Logano a lot, but even for me, this was a little too far. I'm not gonna pick a side here. I'm gonna stay neutral. That being said, however, the hypocrisy of NASCAR fans just baffles me. And I feel like Logano is getting a little too much unjustified hate here. And most of the hate is coming from, the hypocritical parts of the NASCAR fan base. And the same goes for William Byron. Most of the people who said that Logano's move was great and, Robin is racing, they are the hypocritical, Hendrick Motorsports haters that say that Byron deserves it because he's a Hendrick boy. And again, I can understand if you don't like Robin is racing. Personally, I disagree because I love the bump and run. Again, I feel like in this instance, he took it a little too far. I can also understand it if you don't like it, if you didn't like the move because they hadn't taken the white flag yet. And that's fair enough because, again, my main reason why I'm not defending Logano here is because he didn't make his move on the last lap. Like, if it was on the last lap, it would have been, a bit more justifiable because anything goes on the last lap. But 2 laps to go, little too much for me. I can also understand if you don't like either driver, but don't base your entire opinion on that, especially if you're someone who bases their entire opinions on whether they like a driver or not. Yes, I said opinions in plural because the NASCAR fanbase is just hypocritical in general, and that's the main reason why you can't please them all. I feel like NASCAR just picks and chooses sides based on who the driver is, more so than who made the move or how the principle of the move is. It's like NASCAR, they pick and choose their drivers based on the precedent, on a precedent that they have set, which is why a lot of people, they hate Kyle Busch, and every time Kyle Busch gets angry, people say that he's a crybaby. Sure, those people are objectively wrong, but that's the precedent. To be fair, that's the precedent that Kyle Busch set for himself earlier in his career. And once you've set a precedent, especially in NASCAR, if you have set a precedent for yourself, it's going to be very, very hard to shake it off. Unless you're someone like Kurt Busch, for example. But the point I'm trying to make is, when Tony Stewart said that he will wreck his mom to win, the fans praised him for it. When Dale Sr., he made a career out of moves like this. So much so that the phrase "raise hell, praise Dale" is a quote in mainstream NASCAR. It's part of NASCAR culture. Like, "raise hell, praise Dale" is part of mainstream NASCAR. And sure, some people hated him at the time, but after his passing, he's looked back down fondly and saying, "Oh, could you imagine if Dale Sr. wasn't the sport? Could you imagine the outrage and stuff like that?" And people are saying that Dale Sr. was awesome. There would never be other driver like him. But when Joe Logano does it, when Kyle Busch does it, fans get angry because it's them. If you were okay with Dale Sr. doing it, why aren't you now? Again, this is the hype. This is what really pisses me off about NASCAR, because whether you're on Joe Logano's side or not, whether you like what he did or not, pick a side and stick to it. Don't switch up because it's a driver you hate or because it's a driver that has a precedent that you just don't like. Because I remember Bristol 2020, when Chase Elliott did, that aggressive move that he wasn't going to make the corner and he ended up taking himself out on Logano. There was outrage, sure, but not as much outrage compared to the one that Logano is facing right now. And it's because Chase Elliott, yes, I'm a Chase Elliott fan. I like Chase Elliott a lot, but he was in the wrong, and I'm going to say it. Chase Elliott is NASCAR's golden boy. He's their most popular driver. Of course, the fan base is going to protect him because he is the most popular driver. It's similar to how the fans did with Dale Jr. back in the day. Now, here's my honest take on this whole incident. Like I said, even as a Logano fan, that was like a little bit too much, so I'm not gonna pick a side here. If you force me to pick a side, if I was forced to pick a side though, I will lean slightly in William Byron's favor because simply because he is justified, his anger is justified. But the way I saw it, like I said, Byron's handling went away. Logano was catching up to him. And even if he didn't bump William Byron, I still think that Logano passes him because, again, the moment Logano made his move, it was 2 laps to go, turns 3 and 4, like lap and a half to go. Now, some people take exception to that, like anything goes on the last lap. Anything goes on the last lap. And in my opinion, I also stand by that. But then again, it's tough to pass at Darlington. You can easily get to a guy's bumper, but passing him is a whole other story. You can drive behind a guy's bumper all day long, and you can drive behind a guy's back bumper all race long, and not only, even if that guy's holding you up, Darlington is a very narrow track. There are very few ways to pass at Darlington. At some point you're gonna get impatient and just bump the guy who's slower than you. And Logano had the faster car in that run, so if you're going to use that on as an argument for your defense of Logano's move, then that's, I'll give you that one. Now, Joe Logano said when Joe Logano said it in his interview, when he was interviewed about that move on William Byron, Logano said that it was retaliation for an earlier incident where Byron pinched him into the he squeezed them into the wall coming up of turn 2 on the final restart, a few laps into the final restart actually. But I don't think that was the whole story, because if you look at the race as a whole, this Darlington race especially, this was a race of attrition. A lot of guys had issues. Of the 36 guys that took the green flag, only 23 crossed the finish line. Not to mention, the nature of Darlington as a track, it's hard to pass. The tires matter. A tire wear is going to matter a lot. You race close to the wall, so you're going to get a Darlington stripe. I'm not saying that that Logano is being hypocritical or that he wasn't retaliating on Byron, because I'm not saying that, because that was just part of it. Logano was mad at William Byron, but I think it was more pent-up aggression, not directed at anyone in particular, not just at William Byron, but just at how his day went as a whole. Because William Byron, he wasn't the only guy that squeezed Logano into the wall all race long. I know for a fact, like back in stage 1, Kyle Busch, he did the same thing to Joe Logano in stage 1 when when Kyle Busch took the lead. He squeezed Joe Logano into turn 1, and Logano was frustrated on the radio. I saw someone tweeting that Logano said, "Yeah, when I get to Kyle Busch's back bumper, I'm going to fuck him up because I owe him one." Stuff like that. Logano was just frustrated on the radio. And you can also say the same thing about everyone else, because everyone got pissed off at some point in the race, whether it was justified or not. It was just a very long race at Darlington. Darlington races are usually tests of endurance and, most importantly, tests of patience on the driver. So again, it's natural human emotion to get mad when stuff doesn't go your way. Logano felt that stuff doesn't went his way, so he took matters into his own hands, and it worked for him. He ended up winning the race. Now, of course, when people get mad, this can lead to a lot of impatient moves on the track. Look at Kyle Larson, for example. He ended up spinning out Kyle Busch, or he ended up spinning himself out while he was battling Kyle Busch for position. And this happened in stage 1. And if you look at the way Kyle Larson was trying to pass the 18, you know for a fact that he was fed up. He was like not really angry at Kyle Busch, but more angry at the fact that he had him passing. He had a faster car than Kyle, and he felt that they were racing side by side for a couple of laps. It's Darlington, so Larson tried to do a bonsai move on him, and the car he wasn't making the corner. He got loose, predictably so. That move was basically impatience on Kyle Larson, as much as how Logano's move on Byron was also impatience on Logano's part. Now, this is another point I'm getting at. We see drivers talk a big game about he's got one coming, I'm gonna get his ass next time, but they very rarely do anything. And the reason for that is very simple. They just don't get the opportunity to retaliate. What I'm trying to say is they want to do it when the other guy is racing for something meaningful, because they're not going to bother kicking a guy when he's already down. Like, if William Byron and Joe Logano, they weren't racing for the win. If this was a battle for like a top 10 or a top 5 spot, even if Logano was angry at William Byron for that particular moment, that particular moment of Byron squeezing him into the wall, I don't think that Logano puts Byron in the wall. If it wasn't for the win, I don't think Logano makes this move. That move that Logano did, he only did it because they were racing for the win, aka something meaningful for not only Byron but also both drivers, especially for Logano, because that he was winless heading into this race, and this win ended up locking him up into the playoffs. For Byron, he would have loved to win. That would have been his 3rd win of the season. That would have cemented him as a bona fide title contender this season. So Byron would have loved to win that race as well. For 3rd win of the season, some added momentum, the playoff points and stuff like that. So all in all, it was a meaningful win for both drivers. So that's why Logano made his move. Again, if Logano and Byron weren't battling for the lead, I don't think Logano makes this move. Logano only made this move because it was for the win. Now, everyone is saying that Joe Logano is a two-faced and a hypocrite. And here's the truth. And this is a truth that you don't want to hear, but I'm going to say it anyways. 90% of NASCAR drivers have been hypocrites or two-faced at some point in their careers. And it's okay. It's okay for NASCAR drivers to be biased. Again, it's natural human emotion to be angry at somebody else when things don't go your way, or just be angry in general and no one in particular, especially when things don't go your way. It's just natural human emotion to be mad. It's not wrong for Joe Logano to be mad at Kyle Busch or William Byron, just like it's not wrong for Byron to be mad at Logano, because he 100% should be. And now let's talk about William Byron's case. I've been talking about Joey Logano for a good 10 minutes now, ever since this video started. But that's because, again, like I said, people are hating on Logano a little too much. For William Byron's case, I'm not going to talk too much about it because his case is pretty more clear-cut. He got bumped out of a win before the white flag. So he is 100% in the right to retaliate in the future, as long as he doesn't pull a Ryan Sieg on Ty Gibbs, because Ryan Sieg, I like Ryan Sieg, but that was a pathetic retaliation attempt what he did at Las Vegas. If you're going to retaliate, at least do it right. But again, people who are saying that, but again, the same logic of NASCAR fans being hypocrites, the same thing applies here. People who are saying that he can be mad because he is a Hendrick driver and Hendrick drivers are golden boys, that really baffles me, even more so than the Logano hate, because it's just stupid. You're telling me that you only hate William Byron because he's a Hendrick driver? Come on, dude. I've also seen people say that he should maybe take a page out of Matt Kenseth's playbook and just junk Logano straight into the wall like Matt Kenseth did at Martinsville. I don't think he should do that, because there is a fine line between spinning someone out and flat out wrecking them. You know, if William Byron gives Joe Logano like a tire up or spins him out or just races him harder when the two of them are around each other, in my opinion, that's 100% fine. But if he junks him like Matt Kenseth did, he crossed a line, because not only do you end up wrecking a guy, but you also are putting his safety at risk. You know, these Gen 7 cars are as safe as they come, but you know what they say, safety never ends. You also got to remember, at least William Byron, yeah, he got bumped out of the lead, but he at the very least he finished the race running on the lead lap. It's not like Logano took him out of the race and Byron ended his day in the garage. Byron still managed to finish the race under his own power. He finished well outside of the top 10. He actually finished 13th, just like Kenseth did when Logano spun him out of Kansas back in 2015. Matt Kenseth, he was still able to finish on the lead lap under his own power. It's not like Logano took him out back then. Now, I do agree that Logano deserves retaliation, and again, I'm a Joe Logano fan, but I think that Logano deserves retaliation here, because the more I think about it, this is looking more like Kansas 2015, with Logano bumping a guy out of the way for a win and then, you know, running his mouth in his victory interview that, yeah, he did it on purpose because of something that happened before. Again, while I don't think he did anything, while I don't think that Joe Logano did anything egregious, in my opinion, it was just, you know, simple bump for the win. William Byron, he still managed to finish the race on the lead lap, like I said. So I don't think what he did was egregious enough. I'm not going to defend it because he could have waited one more lap at least, or he could have just passed him cleanly, so I'm not going to defend him for that. But while he didn't do anything that, you know, warranted that much hate, I do think that Logano deserves retaliation, and I wouldn't be mad at all if William Byron just, you know, raced them harder when around him, because, you know, NASCAR is better when there are rivalries around. But anyways, I've said my piece. Peace out.